Hello and welcome to another episode of Words with Myself. A lot of us try to be nice. A lot of us see being nice as a positive trait, and we may even use it as an adjective to describe people that we like. We might say, oh, that person is so nice. So let's inspect that for a minute. What are we actually talking about when we say that someone is nice? Normally, the context is referring to someone who is kind and selfless. Somebody who gives to others and doesn't put themselves first. They actually put other people before themselves. That tends to be the kind of person we're referring to when we're using the word nice. Somebody who is selfless and giving. But I propose that there is a dark side to this word. A side that represents a lack of boundaries, a lack of self-respect and self-love. And that's not to say that all incantations of the word mean that, but the people behind those words that we're referring to, those people that we're referring to as nice, when we refer to ourselves as being nice, normally it means at the expense of myself. I'm doing something, or you're doing something at the expense of yourself. You're putting others before yourself. And in a single act, that can be a really positive thing. That can be something that's beautiful and heroic and lovely. But when it becomes a pattern, it can actually be self-destructive. It can be chaotic. It can lead to you resenting people, feeling like you're constantly taken for granted, that you do so much for others and yet nobody really does anything for you. When really it should be, I do so much for others and yet I don't really do anything for myself. This is the dark side of being nice. This is the people pleaser. The person who feels responsible for everyone's emotions, everyone's welfare around them, and feels like it's their job to make everyone else happy, at the expense of themselves, to feel like their feelings, their needs don't matter. And they have to put the needs and wants and feelings of everyone else above their own. These kind of people are unable to say no, unable to put in boundaries, unable to stop themselves from giving, unable to ask for what they need. These people, these nice people, are actually just being horrible to themselves. In order to fit this criteria of nice, we have to constantly repress ourselves, stuff ourselves into this little corner, and tell ourselves that we don't matter, that we are not important in this equation, that the people around us and in our lives, what they want and need is so much more important than what we need. This variance of nice is common, and it's found in children who have very chaotic and traumatic childhoods. Children that often played the role of the mediator, trying to reduce the stress levels of everyone around them, trying to make everyone okay, trying to do things for people so that conflict would not arise, is found in those that needed love, those who were desperately craving love. And they would do anything for anyone in order to get that love. And they would try to give so much in the hopes that they would get something back from it. If only they could give a little more. It's found in the children that were bullied, that were constantly made fun of and tormented. And they believed that by doing things for other people, by being nice to others, it would be the only way that they wouldn't get hurt, that their safety would not be jeopardized. There are so many routes to becoming a nice person, but from my eyes and in the way that I interpret nice, I no longer see this as a positive adjective. I see someone who is a good person, who lives with intention, someone who wants to do good in the world and is at their core and purpose, trying to do their best to live a good life and do good for those around them. That, to me, should be what the representation of nice means. But in the absence of that, I think we are left with this word that actually represents somebody who is afraid, somebody who is unable to establish healthy boundaries, somebody who's unable to look after themselves and prioritize their own needs first. Somebody that is nice is somebody that is injured, is wounded and crying out for help. It's not nice to be nice because you're not being nice to yourself. If you truly loved yourself, if you truly looked after yourself like your own child, like you were a priority in your life, you were somebody who mattered in your life, if you treated them like that, like somebody who deserves protection and safety and comfort and happiness and love, if you treated yourself like that person, you wouldn't be a nice person, but you would be a good person. You would be somebody who is able to stand up for themselves, able to establish boundaries, able to do what is good, what is right, and not what is just nice. Let's take the following example. You have your child with you, and they're on the train, and somebody, a stranger, approaches them and tries to talk to them, give them a hug. You could say that they're just being nice, but you can see that your child is uncomfortable. Now, the nice thing would be to say hello and wave and say, "Oh, how are you doing?" And just kind of let the scenario play out. However, if you were to say, "Excuse me, please back away, my child doesn't know you, and I think they're uncomfortable," that would be seen as something really uncomfortable, really aggressive, really not nice. You weren't nice to that person. They were just trying to be nice to you, and you were not nice to them. But you were respecting and honouring your child's boundaries. You were upholding something that was good. Your child's sovereignty, your child's need for safety and to feel comfortable. You were upholding that for them as a child who is unable to express themselves in that way. But as an adult, we should know better. We should know that we shouldn't have to prioritise being nice over feeling comfortable. You see certain parents force their children to have hugs or, to allow a stranger to kiss them on the cheek or something. And you can see that they're visibly uncomfortable, but the parent is almost forcing their child in the aims to make them somebody who is nice, somebody who is pleasant, because if they weren't, if they said no, if they didn't allow it to happen, then they get branded as a bad kid or a not nice child. When really, kids are smarter than anyone about that stuff, and they can read the energy and they can tell whether it's an interaction they want to have or don't want to have. And honestly, these kids are normally very honest about it. They will tell you, I don't want this. I want to go. I want to leave. I don't want to be around these people out loud. But over time, we hammer this out of them. We train them to be nice instead. We teach them what is nice and how to be it, how to meet the societal standard, how to be seen as a pleasant person, and not honour how you feel, not respect what you intuitively know. Instead, replace it with this constant compulsive need to make others happy at the expense of ourselves. But I don't see anything nice about that. I don't see anything good about that. And regardless whether it's a child or it's yourself or another adult, there is nothing nice about not upholding your beliefs, your boundaries, your standards. There is nothing nice about allowing people to cross over those limits, to push those boundaries, to treat you in a way that you don't want to be treated. There is nothing nice about that. And typically, most of us are doing this 24/7 with everyone. We try to be nice to everyone. And there are people that genuinely love us, that we have a good relationship with. People that deserve our time and attention, people that have cared for us. And yet, instead of investing in those relationships, instead of focusing most of our time, energy, and attention into giving to those who give to us, uplifting people that want to be uplifted and want to uplift you too, instead of focusing our energy and attention on uplifting and investing in relationships that are important to us, those that are bidirectional, that we give and receive from, those of our family and our friends. All of that stuff, all of that energy that you invest on being nice to everyone, being nice to all these people, you are taking away from investing energy with people that you love. That is effort. That is time. That is energy that you could spend on those people, on those relationships that matter. And in all the way that you prioritize all of these different people, that is energy that you could spend on yourself. Your cup has to be filled in order for it to run over into the people in your lives. If you're not helping yourself, you are not helping those around you. All you're doing is setting yourself up for failure, setting yourself up to be resentful, to be bitter, to feel like nobody loves you, to feel like everyone gets put before you, and your whole life has been spent doing everything for everyone else and nothing for yourself. So start looking at nice in a different light. Stop trying to be nice. Stop seeing you being nice as a positive thing. Start looking at you being nice as actually a real symptom of a deeper issue. There's nothing wrong with you doing good things, with you trying to make the world a better place. But there is something wrong with you being nice to the point where you are sacrificing yourself. You're sacrificing what you need, how you feel. You're letting people cross your boundaries and affect how you choose to live your life. Because there is nothing nice about that. Thank you for listening.